Don't pay too much for your motherboard, especially if you're doing a budget build. A lot of tech reviewers might make you confused with terms like VRM, for example. It might seem like an incredibly important part of having a good motherboard, but let me break the confusion. VRMs are the voltage regulator modules. They regulate the voltage in your PC. VRMs are somewhat important. I mean, it's important that you have a VRM, but it's not so important to have a good VRM unless you have a really good CPU. Let me explain. If you have a budget CPU, you don't really need to have good VRM. That is because budget CPUs can also work with budget VRMs. That is how they are designed. However, if you want to have an expensive CPU, for example, you want to have a 9800 X3D or any top of the line Ryzen or Intel CPU, you want to have a motherboard that has good VRMs. So you will have much more stability in your CPU, and that will also help with keeping your motherboard cool. So don't always focus on VRMs. Only focus on VRMs if you're doing a build with a CPU that has a high wattage. If your CPU doesn't have a high wattage, you don't have to worry about VRMs at all. So the main rule today is when you are looking at motherboards, keep in mind if you actually need good VRMs or not. The only reason I would get good VRMs is if I know that in the future I will upgrade my CPU. If I'm not planning to upgrade the CPU, I don't need good VRMs if my current CPU is a budget CPU. And since my build is a AM4 build, I thought I might as well get a budget board because I might want to upgrade to AM5 or AM6 in the future anyways. So might as well, if I'm gonna get a budget CPU, get a budget board as well. But if you want to future-proof your AM4 build or AM5 build, you should buy a better motherboard with better VRMs. For knowing about if VRMs on a motherboard are good or not, since it is pretty technical and it can be a bit hard to understand, I would suggest a website that actually ranks motherboards in terms of their VRM strength and how well they deal with stronger CPUs. So I personally like to use this tier list for knowing how well a motherboard's VRMs will perform. You have the different core currents, 75 amperes, 100 amperes, 150 amperes, and 200 amperes. Basically, what you want to look for is that you want to make sure that all of them are green if you want a motherboard for a strong CPU. But if you're just searching for a budget motherboard, just try to get as many of them green as possible so you have some future proofness. However, I usually just go for the ones that is the cheapest if I'm gonna go with the cheapest CPU. That is it. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye.